All right. Welcome, everybody. We have about 25 people in the room. My name is Isaiah Olson. I'll be helping to moderate the chat. And this is Amanda Taylor. She is a boss when it comes to Google stuff. And she's also kind of my boss. I have to answer to her over at EdTech Team when I do sessions for them. She's the Director of Professional Development at EdTech Team, and she's pretty amazing. So I'm excited to be here and help out.
Thanks, Isaiah.
Yeah.
So today our session is on Google certifications, some of the changes that they've made in the last year, and just looking at all of the different options that there are. I got started with certifications almost 5 years ago now, and it really filled kind of a void for me as far as like I have these skills, I know I'm proficient, and now I have like a piece of paper that proves it that doesn't require me to go like get another degree or something like that. So something that any teacher, it's accessible and easy, and also helps you with that whole like lifelong learning goal. So we're going to talk about all the different types of certifications. The cool thing about certifications is outside of a couple of small fees, you can do certifications completely entirely on your own for very, very, very little like money or cost outside of the cost of the actual like exams if those are required. But there's also other options out there. You can work with partners such as myself at EdTech Team and go through courses that we have too, or you can do it all on your own. So we're going to share all those different options today. I'm located in sunny Southern California too. I don't live in Orange County anymore. We just moved to San Diego County, but I'm loving the sunshine today after all of the rain that we've had this week. I feel like it's been like a year's worth of rain in like 2 days. So today, I actually, in the original agenda description, I said we were not going to talk about the Google Certified Coach. I do have a slide on that today. I've been reading up on it and learning more information. I'm not the most qualified person to talk about the coaching program, but I can speak to it a little bit. But we're going to talk about certification overview, level 1, level 2, and then the 3 advanced certifications, which are trainer, innovator, and coach. And I will be sharing this presentation with you guys. So, why would we go through this certification process? There are a ton of badges out there. You can be a Flipgrid ambassador, you can be a Seesaw Pioneer ambassador. Pretty much, you could be a Microsoft Innovative Educator. Pretty much every program or platform has their own like certification process. I could be completely wrong here, but I'm pretty sure Microsoft and Google were the first to come out with these like certified badges. And I still think that Google's is one of the harder ones to get. You have to actually prove proficiency. It's not just I've been using it for so long and I get a badge. But I really felt like for me, I was able to have something to kind of prove proficiency to show that I had accomplished something. Um, so our question 1 is going to ask you, how would you rate your current ed tech skills? And I'm going to drop this Jamboard into the chat. So once you get on the Jamboard, hopefully I have it set to edit. I do not. Of course I don't. There we go. It has been updated. So now if you want to refresh, you should be able to add a post-it note with your name on a Jamboard. If you've never used a Jamboard before, on your screen, you just want to look for the little add sticky note, and then you can add your name. And then all you have to do is move that sticky note to wherever you want it to be. Also resize it. You can make it little, you can make it big. If you're using an iPad, Jamboard is super fun. Thanks, Omar. Jamboard is super fun on the iPad because you can actually draw and write, and there's some awesome features there. Nice. You can also change the color of your sticky note. Now, this is all well and good, right? Like I'm an intermediate, I'm a beginner. Notice that I have novice and beginner because a lot of people will tell me, oh, I'm a beginner, I don't know anything. But they really do. They actually do have some, basic skills. I would consider a novice if I have to explain to you what Google Drive is and how to find it, you are a novice. If you've got some basic, like I at least know how to find it, like I know how to log in, I know the difference between docs and sheets. I understand that like Microsoft and Google Suite are two different things, then you're definitely a beginner. You're not a novice. But if you are brand spanking new, then I would consider you a novice. And we treat those two groups of people differently when we're training. If you're curious, well, what am I? Am I an intermediate? Am I advanced? I have this fun little Google form that I use often in my training sessions. The form does two things. The first is it's going to help you decide, are you intermediate? Are you advanced? And it's also going to teach you a little bit about Google Forms in the process. So above each one of the sections, I talk about the type of question that I chose, any other like specific things that I added, and any tips that I have for doing forms like this. So for example, this question here, asking your level of expertise for Google Docs. It's a multiple choice question. I've required you to answer all of the questions, and I've added an image to each question. And then a little tip here, when I do questions like this, I will make one and then I copy the question multiple times so I don't have to start from scratch for every question. So that goes all the way down. If you want a copy of this form because you want to use it with your staff or other teachers that you work with, just send me a quick email or I'll get your name at the end and I'll give you a copyable link for this. So I like using this when I start, when we're doing G Suite specific trainings, because a lot of people will tell me that they're advanced, or maybe they think that they're intermediate, but they really are advanced. So those skills are really fun to kind of get. Oh, cool. We've got a lot of intermediate and advanced folks. That's fun. All right. You can continue to add your name and go through that form on your own. We're going to go to the next slide. So there are now 5 certification options with Google. The first 2 are level 1 and level 2, and there's no prerequisites for those certifications. They tell you that you should go through the fundamentals course, and that you should, go through all the things and answer all the questions, but you don't have to. I actually took the level 1 test without any prep at all. I don't know why, but I opened it up on a Friday afternoon. I paid for the test on my own. And I went through the 3-hour test. It took me 2 hours and like 45 minutes to complete the exam. And I passed. That's my learning style. I'm going to try it first. And if I fail, then I'll go back and prep a little bit better. Uh, a great example of that is I got my teacher's credential in Texas. And so when I moved to California and I had to get my California credential, I had to go through the English language learner program, the CTAL certification. And I decided to take those exams without a lot of study. And those are expensive exams. So I ended up having to take those tests multiple times. But that's just how I work. Um, the other 3, the advanced credit or the advanced certifications are Google Certified Trainer, Google Certified Innovator, and Google Certified Coach. One big warning that I would like to say about this slide is trainer, innovator, and coach is not level 3, 4, and 5. It is not how it works. Level 1 and level 2, the reason there's a line there is those 2 certifications are a prerequisite for most of the things down at the bottom. The only exception to that is innovator. You only have to be level 2 certified to apply for innovator, but trainer and coach, you have to be level 1 and level 2 certified. But just because I'm a Google certified trainer doesn't mean that I need to apply for innovator or that I am qualified to apply for certified coach. I am not a Google certified innovator. I am a certified trainer and have been for almost 5 years. And I'm obviously level 1 and level 2 certified. I have attempted the innovator application twice and did not get in either time. And the Google certified coach is super new, and I'm not currently in a coaching role. So I probably wouldn't apply for that unless I went back into a school district. So, which certification most interests you based on what we have talked about so far? If you click to the next Jamboard, you'll see I have all 5 options there. You can make a new post-it note and tell me which one you're most interested in. And then that means if we've got more people interested in, trainer and innovator, then we won't spend as much time talking about level 1, level 2. So this will give me a good idea of what you're interested in and where we can focus some of our energies. Give everybody a minute to post on there. And then also another thing, let's see, there was a question. I don't have access to Jamboard through my school district and my school computer. My district doesn't have any idea how to make it available to teachers. Pamela, it's something that they have to turn on in the admin domain. So in admin console, they should be able to go in and turn it on. By default, when they make it available, it's automatically turned off. Um, G Suite for Education doesn't just want to come out with new features and like have them be automatically available. They want school districts to make that choice, yes or no. So it is in their admin console. If you want, I can find directions for you as to how to turn it, like where they need to go in admin console to turn that on. Um, and I can send you that information so you
That
can
would be
forward that
great
on.
because I've been trying to get them to figure it out since last year.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I know it's not hard. I am not a super expert in the admin console. Like I know enough to accidentally delete people's accounts. So I try not to go into it.
Mhm.
But yeah. Okay. So we are all over the place. Lots of level 1, level 2, and then a handful of trainer and innovator. And we've got one person in the coach. Excuse me while I yell at my children to leave the room so I can continue. Okay. They don't have school today, so they're just running amok. I have a third and fourth grader at my house. Um, I I love teachers, and you guys are amazing. And I used to be a classroom teacher. I am so excited for them to go back face to face as soon as all of this pandemic is over. Especially my son, because he's going to destroy my house. Okay,
I'm glad my house was not the only one.
I just like I love my and people are like, "Oh, it must be so much easier for you because you're like an educator." Like, no. It's not easier. It's harder. Um it is easier now because I really love where they are going to school. Their new school situation is 1,000 times better than it was last year. Both of my kids are in Saddleback Valley Unified, in case you were wondering. My daughter has a really good friend of mine as a teacher, and I love her, and she's amazing. And my son is doing the virtual academy, which is the best choice for him, but it is still really hard. So, anyway, a little background. All right, so lots of level 1, level 2. So let's jump into that. All right, so level 1, both level 1 and level 2 are like the gate for those is an exam. And both of the exams, they're very similar. They're multiple choice questions, usually like 15 to 25 multiple choice drag drop matching questions. And then there's going to be a set of scenarios. The scenarios are usually anywhere from like 10 to 13 scenarios, and you actually have to do something. So they'll give you a fake testing account. It'll have resources in it. It'll almost be like you have accidentally logged into somebody else's account. There'll be a Google Drive with a bunch of files and folders, and it'll tell you what to do. It'll be like, hey, you're a science teacher and you need to email your department to set up a meeting for next week. And so you have to go through all of these steps in this like testing platform to show that you know how to do all the things. It's not just multiple choice matching. To prepare for that exam, Google has a fundamentals training course. They say it's about 15 hours. You can self-pace it, go through it on your own. There's going to be a whole bunch of like questions and suggestions and challenges. And then at the end of every section, there's a very short like check for understanding. And what I love about the fundamentals training is they don't base it in applications. They're not like, here's your Google Docs, section. Here's this. They base it more in like the 4 C's, like student advocacy or creativity in the classroom. And so they're pulling in a lot of that pedagogy into all of the different units that you go through. You can go at your own pace through that online learning course that Google has set up. It's fairly new. They just finished it last summer, and it takes about 15 hours to do that on your own. Now, again, if you're like me, you're going to skip to the end and do the little course reviews first and then go through and read the information. But you don't have to go through that online course through Google to take the exam. You could go right now today, register for the level 1 exam. It's $10. It takes 24 to 48 hours to actually get the like testing credentials, and then you launch the exam and you take the test. The hardest part is that the test is timed. It's a 3-hour test. Uh, the first time I took it, it took me 2 hours and 45 minutes. I have heard recently that the test is easier than it has been in the past. And somebody that I know that recently took it was able to complete the test in about an hour and a half. So it really just depends on what kind of test taker you are. And worst cases, you take a test, you spend a couple hours and you spend $10 and you don't pass it. They don't let you know right away if you pass. They used to, not anymore. It can take up to 2 weeks to get the results back as to whether or not you passed. And unfortunately, they do not give you any feedback at all as to why you passed or did not pass. We don't have a ton of clarity into how they grade or how things are weighted. The last we heard, it's a 80% pass rate. So you have to have at least 80% of the questions and the scenarios done correctly for you to pass the exam. Now, as hard as that may sound, what I love about the exam is they update it regularly. And so if you've noticed recently, to make a comment in a document, this is probably one of my favorite like level 1 skills that I teach people how to do. If I'm in a document and I'm going to share it with Isaiah, or we'll open up. Yeah, if you're an innovator, feel free to let me know in the chat. And when we get to that part, then I'll let you guys let us know how it was for you. I can only tell you how it was to be rejected, which is fine. Not everybody gets to be an innovator. Okay, so I shared this with Isaiah. Just going to copy some text that I have here. So if I want to make a comment on a document, I can add a comment, right? A lot of people know how to do this. But if I want to specifically ask somebody to do something or to tag somebody in a comment, I can do that by using the @ symbol. So I've added Isaiah here. And then he's going to get a notification that I have added a comment and tagged him. Because he doesn't own this document, he doesn't automatically get notified. This used to be a plus sign. It used to be if I was going to make this comment, I would have to do a plus sign and then I could add somebody's name. Well, it automatically changes now to an @ symbol. The test has already reflected that change. So Google's really quick to update the test, which is awesome because we all know that Google is constantly changing all of their things. How many of you give me a thumbs up, thumbs down in your video? Did you like the new logos that they came out with, or do you dislike the new logos? Yeah, we won't tell Google, but most of us dislike the new logos. They're all the same color, and it makes it really hard, especially for our younger learners, to be like, open the blue app, and they're like all rainbow colored now. It was too much. I agree. It was too much. Like we already had a pandemic going. Like, why did you have to launch new logos at the same time? So that's one of the things that I love about the exam is that they're constantly updating with new skills and new changes. When Google Sites switched over a couple of years ago, it only took about a week and new Google Sites was on the exam. So I really appreciate that Google pays attention to that and that they're constantly updating that material. The level 2 exam is very similar. The biggest difference here is that where the level 1 exam, you're going to have like a docs scenario, you're going to have a sheets scenario, you're going to be asked to do something in one application and that application only. In level 2, you're really going to have to blend your skills. So you may start in Google Maps and you may end up in Gmail. So you're really going to have to blend, much like we do in the classroom. We're having to blend all of our different knowledges and expertises from different levels. Again, there's a free online training course through Google that you can go through. It's called their advanced training, and it's about 15 hours as well. It's only 11 units, but it still takes about 15 hours to go through. The test is more expensive. It's $25, but the testing platform and the environment is exactly the same. 3 hours to take the test. There's usually more multiple choice questions on the level 2 test, and there's more scenarios. So again, the first time I took the test, I think for the second one, it actually took me less time because I was more comfortable with the testing platform. The last time I took the level 2 test was last spring. I was recertifying, and it took me about an hour and 15 minutes to finish it. So, the great thing about certification is once you become certified, you are certified for 3 years. So, your certification lasts for 3 years, and then you can update it. We're still, I'm not 100% sure that this is still the case, but last spring, when I retook my exam, I didn't have to do the multiple choice question when I recertified. All I had to do was the scenarios. I don't know if that's still the case. It's going to be a while before I get to recertify again. If anybody's had experience with that, let me know. If you've recertified recently, let me know. Yes, if you both of them require their own independent recertification every 3 years. Are there certain concentrations that Google will want certified one people to know more of? Connie, so the answer to that is level one is, let's see, what does level one cover? Gmail, calendar, docs, slides, sheets, forms, sites. We've seen groups on there before, but we haven't seen it recently. So I don't know if they're updating that scenario or if they've taken groups off. They're constantly changing. And so it really just depends on, every time we get on and see the test again, it's a little bit different. And then with level two, there's more. So they're adding Blogger, an advanced task with sheets. You may also have to do more things in sites and slides. So typically, level two is a couple of more things and deeper level. For example, pivot tables, which is probably the scariest part for most people on level two. Most teachers that I know aren't super comfortable with Google Sheets anyways, spreadsheets. So the fact that they not only have to do a spreadsheet, but also a pivot table is really scary. I promise you, pivot tables are not scary. They walk you through it and they make it really simple. They tell you exactly what they're looking for, which is nice. Awesome. Raquel said she did not have, yeah, no, like pivot tables. As long as you know what things to choose on the pivot table, they're really not scary. Oh, I did not mean to open that. There we go. When I give you the link to this presentation, the links to the training centers are on there. So you'll be able to open those up super easy. So again, to review the level one, level two exam, multiple choice type questions, performance, task-based scenarios. You register for the test using a platform called Web Assessor. It does take 24 to 48 hours to get your testing credentials. And then you have 8 days to take the test. This is probably the thing that we see the most is people register for the exam. They miss the email that the exam is ready and then they forget about it. And then they lose their $10 or their $25 because they missed their 8 day, their 8 day window. You have to watch for those 2 emails, and so when your test is going to be ready to take it. I don't even know what pivot tables are. That's okay. It's a way to look at data. If you've got, just go ask somebody in your district office. They definitely know how to use pivot tables because they love their data. You want to block out 3 hours to take the exam, and you want to make sure you have stable Wi-Fi and a working camera on your computer. This may not be a popular statement, but I would not recommend taking the exam on a Chromebook, which is unfortunate because for a lot of teachers, that is your teacher device. Like that is what your district has given you as your device. I've taken the test on both Chromebook and a regular computer. I prefer on a regular computer. I just feel like it's easier. There's just some things that are just a little bit different on a Chromebook, and I don't need that extra anxiety when I'm taking an exam. Okay, so here's a question for you. This is the next question on the Jamboard. How would you prepare for the level 1, level 2 exam? So you have 5 options here. Would you DIY every step of the way, go through the lessons on your own and take your own time? Would you be the social butterfly that's like, all right, I know how to do this. I'm going to get a group of teachers at my school. We're all going to do this together and we're all going to take the test, the same weekend. Would you be like me and skip straight to the end and see if you can pass without studying at all? Would you be like some of my friends who are like, nope, I'm going to find somebody, I'm going to pay for them to teach me how to do it so I don't have to DIY it. They're going to prepare me and they're also going to give me a voucher to take the test. Or are you going to be, I have a great friend at my former school district who was like, unless the school is paying for me to get the certification, I'm not doing it. So are you going to be that teacher? Which is totally fine. There's no judgment for any of these. Skip to straight. Yep. See, that's where I'm at. I'm in that blue box for sure. Yeah, am I getting paid for this? And you guys, you might ask, some districts have incentives for teachers getting level 1, level 2 certified. We had a lot of districts do that last year when the pandemic started. Saddleback Valley Unified used to have a program where if you got level 1, level 2 certified, there was a small stipend that you could receive. They don't, I believe, have that anymore. But you might ask, at least will they reimburse you for the test, if not for the time you took to prepare for the exam? And if they want like well, how long did it take you? You can always go with the course says, it's 15 hours of prep work. We work with at EdTech team, we work with a lot of school districts that compensate their teachers for the time that it takes to take the exam, which I think is really awesome. Thanks, Isaiah, for the pivot table link. All right. All
I
right.
have a question.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Go for it.
You may have talked about this earlier and I wasn't, of course, paying attention. It talks about, or you have units on all of these slides. What does that mean?
Mm.
How does that?
So, yeah. So here's an example of the advanced training. This is for level 2. So you'll see here it's about 15 hours and they consider it intermediate. This is a unit. So unit 1, promote and model the effective use of digital tools. And so you've got all of these little sections and they tell you how long they think this unit will last. So when I say units, this is what I mean. And so it's not like the docs unit, the sheets unit. They're looking at more of like the pedagogy and classroom implementation. And then if I go back here, I can show you what the level 1 looks like. So here are the topics for level 1. Getting ready to use technology in your classroom, expand your access, have a mostly paperless classroom. So you're going to have stuff about Google Forms and Google Classroom and Google Drive. And this unit here, save time communicating. So you're going to probably be talking about Gmail, calendar, and this one here. It stinks that they don't call out what apps are in each one. But usually if you go to the introduction, it'll kind of give you an outline of what each topic is going to dive into a little bit deeper.
Okay, thank you.
And each one, what will you learn? They're really good about calling out the objectives for each one of those sections. Oh, and there's the products. Yep, so those are the units. Thanks for asking. That was a great
Awesome,
question.
thank you.
Any other questions about level 1, level 2 before I move on to trainer, innovator, and coach?
I just have a quick question because I put myself as find a cohort of teachers,
Yeah.
and I'm alone there.
And you're alone there. Okay. So there's a couple ways that you can do this. If you want to DIY it, on your own, and you don't think anybody at your school would join you in this endeavor, there is a Facebook group for Google certified education information. It's not run by Google. It is just an open Facebook group. A lot of us trainers are in there. You can find a virtual group through there. You can join a Google educator group, a GEG. I'm almost positive we still have one in Orange County. It's a little bit different now that the G+ communities are gone. So if anybody knows about the Orange County GEG, you probably have people in Orange County Q that would be interested in forming a cohort, or asking people in your school or district if you have an instructional coach or a technology coach. What district do you work in?
It's a Alvord in the near Corona.
Okay. Chances are you have some sort of instructional technology department. Whether or not you have a coach in that department, I'm not sure. But ask them, are they willing to pull together a group? Sometimes you never know. They may have PD money they can throw at it to help you get prepared for that test. A lot of times they have programs. You just don't know it because they haven't, been super great. That we had programs like that when I worked for Saddleback Valley Unified, but getting that communication out was a barrier for sure. Any other level 1, level 2 questions before we talk about trainer innovator? And Isaiah, can I get a time check?
Yeah, we have about 20 minutes. So.
Okay, perfect. As a teacher not looking to become a coach innovator, how does taking the time to get a certification help me and my students? A couple of things. With level 1 and level 2, it was a confidence boost for me, like internal motivation. And I also felt like it was a badge that I could display, much like my Seesaw ambassador badge. Like, not only do I feel confident about these skills and abilities, but I feel like I have proof that I did it. Um, I was surprised, and I think most people that take the exam would echo this. I was surprised by things that I learned while taking the exam. I did not know how to tag somebody in a comment until I took the exam, and it asked me to do it, and I had to figure out how to do it. There's actually some really interesting ideas or suggestions, but I also think it encourages you to reach out into the larger community and find other level 1, level 2 people that that share those same skill sets, and then you can start having those conversations. And sharing ideas back and forth. It kind of just untaps a whole area that you didn't even realize existed.
Sorry, I
Oh,
didn't
awesome.
realize, Amanda, it's only 10 minutes. Sorry.
Oh, we have 10 minutes left. Okay, so then I will move a little faster. Okay, let's talk about Innovator really quickly. Innovator, I would say Innovator is the hardest. So we'll just get this over with. We'll just rip the Band-Aid off. Pre-COVID, Innovator had 5 to 10 regional cohorts a year. You could apply. You would have to come up with a problem in education that you felt like you were qualified to solve. You didn't necessarily have to have an answer to it, but there was a problem, and then you had to apply to be the solver of that problem. They would choose a group of 30 out of hundreds of applications across the world. And then those people would fly, they would have to pay themselves. A lot of times their school districts would cover that cost to a location, and then they would go through a 3-day innovator camp with educators from across the globe. They haven't done any in-person innovator community cohorts since the pandemic started. So I think all of 2020 were virtual cohorts. And we do not have a schedule yet for the 2021 cohorts. If you are that go-getter and you've got a problem that you think that you're able to solve, then Innovator is really awesome. There's also a really great Innovator community. I would highly suggest finding a couple of innovators. I know we've got a ton in the in the CUE community in general, but specifically in the Orange County CUE. Talk to one of those people, take them out for coffee virtually, whatever you need to do, and have them walk you through that process. It's hard, it's a lot of work, and they don't give you a lot of feedback when you don't get selected. But the people that do go through it tell me that it's life changing, and um, I'm just a little bitter that I didn't get picked, but that's okay. Okay, questions about Innovator. And I think we had some innovators in the room, right? Do you see any innovators pop into the chat, Isaiah?
I saw that somebody was, but I don't know if they stuck around. I don't know if they're still.
Okay. Okay. The coach is one of the newer certifications. If you are an instructional coach, then this is definitely a certification that I would look into. It does require their course, which is 10 hours. There's a coach skills assessment that you have to take. But the biggest piece of it is that you have to submit a portfolio. The certified coach is really new, like less than a year old. But it's a really awesome program, and there's a coaching cycle that you go through. It's super cool. So there's a link here to the coaching center where it talks more about why and how the five-step coaching model that you use to become a certified coach and the process that you have to go through. I would say the coach process is the one that takes the longest because you actually have to go through a few coaching cycles before you can submit your application. The next one, oh, where was trainer? Did I miss trainer? I did. Trainer is for those of you that want to be the leader of the EdTech community in your school or your district. Maybe you already are, maybe you're already at a district office level or a coaching position, or you're the head of the technology committee at your school. That those are the people that apply to be trainer. You have to maintain your trainer status by submitting 12 training sessions a year. But to become a trainer, you have to be level 1, level 2 certified. There is an additional skills assessment exam that you have to take. It's a $15 exam. It's 90 minutes. It's all multiple choice. It's basically um, more technical questions about G Suite and how it operates. And then the application is probably the hardest part. You have to show that you've had at least 5 Google training sessions under your belt. They can be virtual, they do not have to be in person. And then you have to develop a case study based on one of those trainings. You have to share sample training materials from that training session and then data from your evaluation. What kind of feedback are you getting? How is that helping you become a better trainer? And then the last piece is you have to have a video. It has to have a 1-minute intro and then a 2-minute quick tutorial. The best tutorials are the ones that are going to blend pedagogy with instruction, talking about the why and the how of how to do something in G Suite specifically. So if you're interested, you can head over to YouTube and look up Google Certified Trainer video, and you'll just get bombarded. If you look up Amanda Taylor Google Certified Trainer video, you'll be able to find mine. It's a couple of years old, but it still follows this original format. The application cycle is ongoing. They grade applications every single month. And the cool thing about the certified trainer community is it is one of the only pieces, it's one of the only certifications that you will get feedback on. So if you do apply to be a Google certified trainer and you are not accepted, you will get an email detailing all of the things that you need to fix before you reapply. So, and then you get added to the Google Trainer community, which, you've got this network of thousands of trainers across the country. They share resources back and forth. You get new updates before anybody else gets them. You get offerings for trainings or webinars or different things. It's a really cool community to be a part of. They're super active. I actually have to turn the email notifications off because they would completely fill my inbox. But there's a lot of really cool stuff that comes in for being in the trainer community. All right, so the last one is for a Jamboard is which one of the advanced certification most interests you, so you can add your name there. And then Q&A is the very, very last slide. So if you have any questions that I did not answer, and with the time that we have left, you are welcome to add your question here along with your email address, or you can shoot me you can send me an email. I will make sure that Isaiah puts my email in the chat. And then let me also get you guys this. If you filled out the form, the deck was at the end of it, but let me grab it for you really quick. You guys have this slide presentation. There it is. Copy and paste. There we go. So there is the link to the slide deck and my email address. Yeah, the badges look super fancy in your signature. I don't actually have them in my signature right now. And the badges are new too. They used to look like Monopoly cards, and now they look like this. So they don't have that yellow brick anymore. But all right, Q&A questions. Yay, awesome. Information for the student courses trainer. The student courses, a lot of that has changed. They used to have a cloud certification course, and they sunsetted that at the end of last year. We're not 100% sure what is going to come next from that, but I know Google has some stuff in the works. I want to clarify if I'm level 1 and 2 and a trainer every 3 years. No. So if you are currently a trainer, every every year, every 12 months, usually in December, January, you have to get onto the activity portal and you have to show that you've done your 12 sessions a year. So trainer recert, you don't actually have to recertify. You just have to show that you've done your 12 trainings, and then you submit one training material a year to the community. The level 1 and level 2, you retake the exams every 3 years. So that's how you maintain those 2 certifications.
All right, looks like we're getting called back.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for your questions.
Jorge, you can't do a breakout within a breakout.
That's correct. Yeah.
Hey, Kate.
Yeah.
Hi there.
Hi.
How you been?
Let me make
Oh, it's
Kate
wonderful to
their
see
maker.
everybody. Is that Ann Cosma?
Kate.
Hi.
And
Oh my gosh.